the, agenda items. This is not the member comments afterwards, but if you want to speak to any agenda items, if you could fill out a form in the back. And what I would suggest that if there's something that piques your interest, that you can fill out the form, and then if you decide you don't want to speak, that's quite okay also. So I just want to let you know that, and then at the end of the meeting, after the, when we're going to do the member comments, you don't have to fill out a form for the member comments.
And then the buyer was responsible for taking care of all the legal work that goes into getting the property changed her name to your name. Now, and
You got part of it now.
and they were also pushing you to use their lawyer. I had contacted a guy that was, I think, in this company out of Chicago. I know and they told me don't get involved. It takes forever. They talked about 3 to 5 years to get it. But one day a real estate guy was here. He was just kind of checking the traffic for them for the people in Chicago. And I talked to him, and he says really don't want to get involved. But
I talked to the wife,
okay.
I didn't have any part of it either.
No, I'm just curious because
Yeah, it's like $7.
I was listening to say up until say the first part of the year, and then everything just went off that website, that pre-real website, and it was out there the other day, and it just listed so. But I haven't seen it. 7520 mission in my SSI owner.
We can call the meeting to order. Just a couple of things first. Do we have anybody recording? One. Ali, you got that?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am, thank you.
And, if you have any hats on, if you could just remove your hats, especially during the, but yeah, everybody's going to get to.
Yeah, that's what.
Yes, the men too. Oh, there you go. That's nice and shiny now. Okay. And, we're going to stand for a moment of silence and then for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And before we start regular business, Jerry Foster, our president, he's out of the hospital now, and he is doing excellent. We've been working together for the last 2 days, and he has been pounding on my head. So he is very back to normal. He's just waiting to get his legs back, and next week he's planning on being, I think next week he's going to start going into the office a couple of days. We have a couple of meetings that he's going to attend, and then, we hope to see him back here real soon. So keep him in your prayers. And, yeah. Jerry, if you're listening, that was for you. And I guess Mark isn't here this evening?
Correct.
Okay, he is under the weather, so he is excused also. Okay. First on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the membership meeting of 3/17/21. I have a question. Those are the membership It's the membership meeting, and technically it's the next year, so do we pre-approve the minutes, and then they will have the final approval? I don't know how that works. Is that how it is? Okay, so this is the pre-approval for the minutes of the membership meeting of 3/17/21. Do we have any omissions or corrections? Then we can, they can be, approved as stand, as written. Then we have the approval of the minutes of the organizational meeting of 3/17/21. And this is for the approval. Anybody have any omissions, corrections? They're being done. They can be approved as written.
Thank you.
So the next thing on the agenda is the board correspondence, a letter from George and Henrietta Rice, Secretary Stratton. Okay, letter to the Board of Directors. Dear Board of Directors, March 30th, 2021. We do not know, and anyone we asked could not tell us who was exactly the person who got the COVID-19 vaccine here in Brookridge. After over 18 hours on the computer trying to get an appointment for the vaccine, hours on the computer filling out forms and questionnaires, here comes an email from the office that they were trying to get it. Hooray! George and I decided to wait and see what happened and stop all the irritating, confusing computer nonsense. And there it came. George got signed up at 9 to 9:30 and myself a little later at 11 to 11:30. We were very happy with that. Because of health reasons, I would go with George and get his shot and take him home. I would return when it was time for my shot. This was no problem. We were so very glad to know at least we were on a list, got timed, and were on our way. Vaccine day came. We went about 9:15 because we thought everyone who got the 9 o'clock time would be there early, would get there early. Anyway, it worked out well for us. We got in line and it moved right along. When George got to the sign-up table and was on his way, the lady asked if I was going to get a shot. I said yes, that morning. She said she would take me then. What pleasant, time-saving, less confusing offer to happen. First shot done for both of us. Because of the med I was on, we waited 30 instead of 15 minutes and we were on our way. Second shot day turned out to be easier than the first. Bing, bang, boom, done, and on our way home. Yes, of course, there was always complainers, grouchy people in line, but we hoped that when they were home and really thought about it, just how blessed they were to get it at a home base and done so efficiently, they now are also happy. So, to end this book, please give this letter to the person responsible for our satisfaction in getting our COVID-19 vaccine shots at Brookridge community. Again, thank you. Sincerely, George and Henrietta Rice. And thank you for the kind words.
May I say that all came about from Carol, our general manager. She put it all together with the people involved. It took a little while, but she did it. It was done. Thank you.
Thank you, Maybe, oh. Next, the reports. Okay. Acting President's report. I already told you about Jerry. And we have received some resumes for the different committees that the board approved last meeting. Jerry and I will review them next week and report at the workshop meeting on May 4th. We're hoping for many more residents to assist Brookridge. The first committee we will approve will be the Health Advisory Committee. This committee will determine when it will be safe to open Brookridge to non-residents and to the guests. The earliest target date still is June 1st. We're still seeking 2 more medical professionals to review the data for Hernando County because, as we said before, that's going to be our trigger. So we have 2 good applicants, and we're hoping to get 1 or 2 more that are in the medical profession. Last meeting, Barbara Beltran came up and talked about the pickleball courts. She sent a letter that I think we read last time, and I had asked her to send us a proposal. She gave us a proposal this morning, so I wasn't able to process it because it was too late for the agenda. Chris Luca from the Tennis Club also gave us a letter this morning. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up meetings with both groups next week. Is Barbara here? Oh, there you are. Okay, yeah. We're going to set up meetings with both groups, your group and the tennis group, so we can get particulars to each one. And with that information, we're going to discuss it with Vince, who is our supervisor for all the courts. And then we can go through the process after that. Now, if it's going to be a cost involved, it will have to go to the finance committee because we're very tight on our finances. But we will keep you up to date. And Jerry is hoping to be at both meetings next week, so we're looking forward to that. And we have been reviewing our finances. As you know, Jerry, that was one of Jerry's biggest things about getting on the board. Larry has been working with Lynn, our bookkeeper, and they have concerns about discrepancies in both the reserve and the operating budgets since 7/1/2020. Lynn has requested that we have an HOA CPA to assist them. Carol will give us an update in her report, and we terminated our contract with the CPA who was hired last fall. So we're going to be moving along with that. We're having an HOA expert in, so he understands exactly what the finances will be, and Carol's got some update on that. And as was stated in the prior report, we're still concerned about possible overspending in transfers, reserve transfers. We must have this done before we can move forward with the 2022 budget process, which must start by May 30th. Resident Mike Green, a computer expert, reviewed our computer systems and has presented Jerry and myself and Carol with a proposal as a possible solution to some of our computer problems. Jerry, Carol, and I will meet with Mike next week. We are terminating the contract with the computer consultant who was hired in the fall. And all of these I discussed with Jerry the last couple of days, and this report was made under his supervision, and he just wants everybody to remember that transparency is the big thing. So, and that is all of my report for tonight. Next is the treasurer's report. Larry?
Live? Okay. Okay, how about that, better?
Can you take your mask down? Take your mask
Real
off.
close. This is my first rodeo, so I'm sorry. Did everybody get a copy of the treasurer's report when you came in? Do you want me to read everything, or just the highlights off of it, or nothing? It's up to you folks.
Okay, I think that you have to read it all, just for the at-home audience. We all have a copy, but the at-home, yeah, let's just do it this time and see where we can go next month.
Okay,
No, but I can say this and this, and I can hand it out.
the operating end balance was $284,742.53. Now, our assessment for the month was $101,371.69. Fines were $4,205. Interest income is $1,702.63. Non-sufficient fund charge was $123. Mowing would make $770. Screenings were $2,844.05. Late fees, which are 30 days or over, are $365. Mailing and filing was $466.09. Estoppel fees were $5,300. News and views is $52. Convenience fee was $72. Pool passes were $80 and barcodes were $140. So we took in $117,491.46. Expenses in the administration was $21,514.15. Facilities is $18,639.29. Public Works is $19,536.49. And security was $31,650.37 for total expenses of $91,340. Our ending, let's see, reserve accounts. Our ending balance was $2,031,123.93. We made a deposit of $223,600 into our reserve accounts. Our total checking and savings, these are all the banks that we have money in, is $2,454,637.87. Donated income was $1,719.76. And Capital City checking, I think, is that the total of our, I gotta ask, donated funds?
Yes.
Total of donated funds is $26,587.43. Did I confuse everybody? Good.
Larry, I just have a question for you, I'm not sure. I know that when you first came on board, and a lot of people were very confused about the old, the way that the report was. Are you working with Lynn to try to figure out what's the best way for?
Yes, this is the first report that I've done, and I worked with Lynn to make this up. And we're gonna try this and see how everybody, if you liked it or if you didn't like it, if we could do something more to it, we certainly can. But this was my first shot at it, so hopefully it's okay.
Is that it?
That's it for now.
For now, okay. General Manager's report.
Okay, I don't have a lot. I just want to mention that last Wednesday, Pine Brook Pharmacy finished giving second COVID vaccines to 100 Brookridge residents. Since vaccines are starting to open up to anyone, Brookridge will not be sponsoring another vaccine event. Pine Brook Pharmacy is still taking appointments for anyone interested in getting the vaccine, and they have offered to vaccinate anyone in Brookridge that is unable to get to the pharmacy. All they need to do is make an appointment with the pharmacy directly. The auditor from Masters and Company, who's doing the annual financial report, which is due April 30th, had a death in the family, and the company has requested an extension, and we are keeping in constant contact with them on when the report will be available. So anybody who's requested it, as soon as I know, you will have it.
Carol, can you just give us, the HOA CPA, because I know you spoke with them very recently. Can you just say who that person is and that they're working, I can't remember his name.
The last one we had?
The one that you spoke with, there was a woman, her name was Patty, and then the other man.
The other name was Percy.
Percy.
They're both reviewing the records, and then we will determine what we need is someone who's going to be available to answer questions quickly. The woman, Pam, said that if she's not available, anybody in her office can answer the questions. We haven't heard back from Percy yet because he was out of town and he's just reviewing the books now. But there's, from doing HOA bookkeeping, I see that things could be done differently and easier. I find it a little complicated, and that's what we're looking for, because we're having trouble finding things.
Thanks. And we have no security reports tonight. Now, on to unfinished business. Here's Mr. Coral here. Where are you? Hey.
Mr. Corl's not here tonight. I have a gentleman right here, Richard. You will handle the situation for us. Thank you,
I was
sir.
gonna say, Mr. Cole, you grew up.
Good evening. Can you hear me? I'm Richard Sapp. My lovely wife and I, Elaine, live in Unit 6, and I am presenting this only on behalf of A.K.O. Coral, who is accepting the yacht this evening. So please call him. And his statement is, I would like to thank the members of the ad hoc grouping committee for all the hard work they've done. They are Rich Stratton, board member, Kayla Coral, Bill Riley, Frank Dumont, and myself. I'd also like to thank Carol Webster, Brookridge general manager, and Vince Pizzo, Brookridge facilities manager, for their input, advice, and invaluable assistance. At the committee's request, our consultant obtained 3 proposals from contractors that have been received and reviewed by this committee. Of the 3 proposals, one contractor had incomplete information. A second contractor had additional information but was still inadequate in his response. The last company had all of the documentation requested for insurance, bonding, worker cross-training, and drug compliance. Of the 3 proposals, the last company, Maintenance X Roofing's proposal, along with their option 1, which I suppose you have, is the one the committee recommends to the board for their approval. Thank you all very much for allowing me to address this event.
Thank you. So we have the clubhouse roof proposal. And let me just find one. So at this time, we're going to propose a motion regarding this. And the analysis is that we received 3 sealed bids for the roof repair and replacement or replacement in the clubhouse. The consultant, Mike Long, reviewed the bids with the ad hoc committee and recommends Maintenance X as the vendor. Now, the only mistake we have here is that the board of directors were provided with copies of the bids. They will be provided copies of the bids if they would like, but when we heard the report just now, you can understand why we didn't accept the other 2. And so, what I would like to recommend is if we discuss the different options that Maintain X was given to decide on which one to approve, because they're given a couple of different ones. So my motion is to approve, and I don't want to say which option until there's discussion. We have, at this time, the ad hoc committee has recommended one option, and Mike Long has recommended another option. One option is for to do the main roof section, and the option for the ad hoc committee was to repair the metal roof section for $8,725. Mr. Long, his suggestion was, his recommendation was to not repair the roof, but replace the roof on the metal, because in a couple of years, it's going to cost us more money anyway. So at this point, I would like to make an option that Mr. Long had recommended, that we choose option 1 for $62,000 for the metal roof, and the main roof bid $108,739, and that total is $170,888. This would be the amount initially $170,888 by Maintenance for the clubhouse roof repair replacement. Do I have a second? I'll second it. In this discussion, yep, we'll do discussion. And I'll save my comments until the rest of the members. Okay, Rich.
Okay, looking over this here, as we did, we spent a lot of time going over of course, the main section, as Gail said, and recover roof section number 1 for $62,149. And that'll give us a nice warranty, top and bottom, on both these operations here. In looking at this here, it's longevity. Look at longevity. 20-year warranty, you gotta take it. That's what we're here for. You wanna repair it, get it done right. They are, everything on their paperwork is there, bonded, insured, everything else. And I just wanna say one thing to Carol, do we have a little cushion there? You talked about a cushion. You wanna mention that?
Where's that by my paperwork?
Is that the one to do $190,000 so we have?
Yeah, the price
Right.
is $170,888. What we're looking for is $190,000, which will also cover Mike Long to be there for quality assurance. He charges $475 a visit and any unforeseen costs. It's better we have the money, let's go into the 190 instead of going for exactly 170,000, then we have to come back and ask the board for more money.
That was going to be my amendment. But is that what you were talking about?
Right, the reason we're doing that is, I'll just make it very simple. We all drive cars today. You take a car to the body shop, you look at it, they'll give you a figure, right? But when you take it apart, there's more damage. Unforeseen damage. Carol, thank you very much. Unforeseen damage, we don't know. We're gonna cover ourselves today. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah?
The only thing I think is, as we said, do it right the first time so we don't have to do it again in a couple of years.
Thank you.
I don't have anything to add, but that's correct. I think that's how most of us feel on the board, is let's get it done, do it right. So that we're not throwing money on top of money.
Okay, so obviously this is a budget expense, and the money was allocated with the approval of the last budget, so we're good there. The only thing that I don't see in the package, which I imagine is normal, is the payment schedule, and, are we gonna be listed as an additional insured for the liability? I mean, once this package is approved by the board, will there be like a limited agenda board meeting where we do the contract?
Yeah, we already covered that. Carol, you can go ahead and.
We're not approving the contract right now. Right now, all you're approving is if you want to go with this contractor. Once you decide on your contractor, then the president, the vice president, and treasurer get together, or whoever's available from the board to discuss the contract and negotiate and ask questions, anything you have.
Question answered.
Okay.
And Carol, thank you very much. And that'll be the president of the company also gonna be there. And the term we used to use is negotiate. We're gonna negotiate the price. Even though you look at it right now for 170, that could be great. I don't know. Let's see what he says. Where's the military discount? Excuse me. We're gonna look for it. Yes, we are. If you say I guess people shake their head no.
Okay, let's not, no side discussion, please. Okay? Jerry's comments on this were that he strongly goes with the recommendation of Mr. Long. Jerry was up on the roof at the time, and Jerry and I sat in on Mr. Long's presentation of everything that he had showed us on the roof. Jerry went up afterwards and he inspected all of that with him, and he totally agrees that don't patch, just let's get it done, and let's get it done right. I feel the same way, and your comments about the contract and stuff, if you look through here, and I used to have to do contracts, so I looked through here a lot, and that, all of those things are blank. We have the verbiage is here, but those are the blanks, like when we start, what's the date, how much we pay up front and things like that. That's what will be filled in, because this is mostly that contract. So that's what we'll discuss next week or whenever, when we start that process. So, did anybody sign a paper to speak to this?
Do I need to
Do we have
have
no?
a paper?
Okay.
I don't
Do I
have,
need to
why,
have
you
a
wanna
paper?
say something?
Did you have a paper?
No, I didn't, but I've got some questions, should I wait till the end?
You know what, I'll give it to you. Okay, we wanna keep it at 3 minutes, okay, so that we can move the meeting along. I know that's unprecedented, but let's see how this works out. Gives Patrona something to do.
Push it up.
Kathy?
Yes.
Hello?
There you go.
Vivian Blair, Unit 4. My questions are, when is it gonna be done? Is the clubhouse gonna be closed? And if so, how long? Okay, those are the things that we will talk about at our meeting. Because they'll have to tell us about how long it will be and a closing date. And, I noticed that in the contract, I'm not sure if Mike Long has done this contract or not, but there is language on there, if they go over, okay, there's language in there. I think it's $1,000 a day or something like that. Yeah, so I did read that in there, so we have precautions, so once you see the contract, we're covered. And
I understand that, I'm just wondering, is the clubhouse gonna be closed while this is done?
we will find out during that, yeah, okay? And as soon as we have the contract, we'll get those answers for you, okay, at a meeting, so everybody knows. Thank you.
Dale?
Is-
Vince has,
I can't see.
I
Oh,
can't see
Vince.
unless I put my glasses
Vince
on.
has something to say.
Dale would like, or Vince would like to talk.
Vince, you have to stand up because I'm too short. There we go. All right.
All right, so just to clarify something, the upper roof, okay, for $8,000 for the repair. It does need to be done. The repairs have to be done, but that's included in the price. For the 66,000, or, right, 66, all that's included in it, there's things wrong, or things up there that's been up there for a very long time from the old heaters, heater piping that they had up on the roof a long time ago, the solar heating, so all that's gotta come off the roof before they cover. So all that area up on top will all be fixed, any areas that were rusted from the metal deck will all be cleaned off, repaired, and then it will be covered on a roof, just so everybody's clear.
Right, and that is part of the,
That's part of it.
the,
There's no extra cost for that, it's all included in the $66,000.
okay, thanks. If there's no more comments, if we could have a vote, all those in favor? Oh. Yeah.
I don't have a thing.
That's all right, Vivian didn't have anything.
Maybe you could take that over to Anna.
I have,
Anna Webster.
Anna Webster, Unit 4. I just have a couple concerns for myself and for everybody else. When you did your vice president talk this evening, you said about issues about moving reserve funds into the general budget, and those things have to be worked out. So then, we're gonna have $190,000 that should come out of the reserves if I remember correctly. And, then, Bill said that 190,000 had been approved in last year's budget, so we were okay. My question is, if there's concern about moving money back and forth from the reserve to the general fund, I just want to be sure in my own self that, yes, that $190,000 is in the reserve and it is allocated for the roof.
Anna, absolutely. When we put this on the agenda, I asked the manager to make sure that the funds were there for us, that we aren't moving anything. When we were talking about the reserves and the operating budget, nothing has been moved between the reserves and the operating budget. There was issues with the operating budget and there are issues with the reserve budget. Not moving them back and forth, so I apologize. I'm glad that you said something because other people might have thought the same thing. The money that is in there, it has been allocated, so we are all set with this. And thank you for asking that question because I'm sure other people, have the same question, so thank you. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous vote. Next, we have new business. Approval of 3 members for the social committee by Val Stratton. You are on. Okay, approval of 3 volunteers. Thank you. At the last workshop, we approved the formation of the social committee, and the following residents have stepped forward: Deborah Burns, Lois Butterfield, and Margie Ellison. And then perhaps the first thing that we're going to be working on, depending on what the members think, is a poker rally. So my recommendation is to approve the 3. So I motion that Deborah Burns, Lois Butterfield, and Margie Ellison are approved as members of the social committee. May I have a second? I'll second. Oh, we'll give it to Larry.
I'll second.
Yeah. All right. See, that's how you got me confused. We have a motion to approve Deborah Burns, Lois Butterfield, and Margie Ellison for the social committee. Larry Hoos has seconded it. Discussion. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's a unanimous vote.
Do we have to swear them in?
I don't believe we have to swear them in. They're an ad hoc committee, so I don't know if we have to swear them in. Do we have to swear them in?
I don't believe.
A parliamentarian down there says no.
Okay, well, the 3 did, come tonight, so
Yeah,
could I at least have you stand up
Yeah,
so
I
that
was
we can
gonna
see
ask,
our newest volunteers, please?
I just like to, we're gonna, okay, so we have Debbie Burns, Margie Ellison, and Lois Butterfield. Okay. Thank you, ladies.
And if the 3 of you could stay after the meeting for just a little bit, we'll schedule our first meeting. Thank you.
And I'd just like to remind everybody that the social committee is to bring people back to, back into the festive times, to bring us back together. And Jerry's thought was that anything that we do, if there's any entertainment, once the clubhouse is open to our non-residents and our guests, that everything will be free to our residents, and that there would be a slight fee, maybe $3 to $5 for our guests and non-members. So that's the premise for Jerry and bringing people back together after an especially tough year. So, thank you, ladies, and thank you, Gal. Next on the agenda, we have electric vehicle charging stations. Rich.
Thank you. Formation of committee to research metered charging stations for electric vehicles. The future will bring electric vehicles to our fleet, employees, visitors, and residents. Residents already have electric vehicles in here. Looking for volunteers with skilled negotiation of contracts and those with electrical background to research solutions by the meeting with the WREC, which is Wichikuchi. Research installing for the BCPO-owned electric charging stations, and we can use the term called capital contributions if it's voted on down the road. Form an ad hoc committee to meet with the WHO providers, identify where to install, type of mechanism, and how to fund and implement and or recoup costs through usage fees. I motion for, I'm gonna just open up discussion right now before I make a motion. Anybody have any talk about this?
Excuse me, you have to make a motion.
Okay, I'm sorry. I motion to form an ad hoc committee to research electric vehicles, charging stations at BCPO.
Do I have a second? Gal Stratton seconded. Okay, let's do discussion with the board first.
Okay, let's look at the overall picture. In all 50 states, we're number 3, Florida. We have 5,500 units. Only 2 leading us is New York and California. Okay, there's 1 million electric vehicles out there right now on the road. And this is our government coming up in the future. A parking area with charging stations, electric vehicles, seen in Orlando. We also have in the villages in St. Petersburg. The Biden administration seeks $174 billion for 500,000 stations. That's the U.S. So I'm looking at getting a few in Brookridge. For our residents, maybe yes, but people who drive in here. We have bingo coming back out and everything else. Electric vehicles in the future, this is maybe 25 or 27. I talked to some dealers, and they're looking at giving rebates of $15,000 on a vehicle. $15,000, not a bad deal. Electric vehicle. If we go, let's make a real estate statement. Let's go back to 1890. My great-great-great-grandfather, he had 2 horses. You let him in, you let him in the pasture. He's driving a gas vehicle. Now we're going to go electric vehicles and see the future. Any more comments from the audience?
Please, I will. Now, do you have any comments?
Larry said over here.
Well, you seconded it.
Now, still on. I think we might remember that our security vehicles are probably due for replacement sometime in the future. And if this does happen where we need a vehicle and they're giving such a good deal, perhaps we'll be plugging in our own vehicle.
Larry?
I think it's a good idea. I just don't know if we need to do it yet. I understand we're looking down the road probably 6, 8, 10 years. So I don't know if we
We
need.
don't know. We don't know which Cucci's going to do yet for us.
Right.
Could be 5 years, could be 4 years. But if they get a deal for us right now, low dollar investment, and we can make money off the machines, mechanisms, we're not to know in the future.
My feeling is, as Larry says, this is down in the future. We have other pressing financial issues in the community, and I don't think that we should allocate any money for electric vehicles right at the moment. This is way down the line, and we are a retirement community. I don't even know how many people in here would be interested in electric vehicles. So at this time, I don't think that it would be prudent financially to do anything about electric vehicles.
One comment, Rosemary? It's not the people. It's the people coming in. Could be the son-in-law, could be somebody else, a friend coming from up north, electric car. So it's not the family, it's not us. We're fine. It's going to be the future people that we're looking at, and the future ones coming in. This is the year 2000, 2010, 2020, and here comes 30. I'd rather be prepared and then catch up later.
Okay, thank you. As I said, I have been meeting with Jerry for the last 2 years, last 2 days. I'm just gonna say it, Jerry said to tell you that we have to go through us first and then to you. Jerry thinks it's a terrible idea. I won't tell you exactly what he said, he thinks it's a terrible idea. He's very adamant, okay, he's very adamant about expenses right now, and that is his feeling. I just feel that he should have his say also. He can't vote, but he wants to have his say. Myself, I just don't think it's the right time for this. We're talking about something in the future, and I understand what you just said, was that it wouldn't be the residents in Brookridge. But we can't even afford, we don't even have money right now in the reserves for new vehicles from what we can figure out. And to be even thinking about this, I think it's very premature. But that's just my opinion.
Dale, what if it was free? What if it's free?
Please,
Okay.
yeah, that's,
You gotta look at it. You have to look at the situation. Otherwise, you back away, don't worry about it.
okay, all right, and I understand what you're saying, but we're thinking of Brookridge. I'm thinking of Brookridge, you know, and the clientele that we have, the residents that we have, and I can't see Brookridge getting an electric car. We don't have $12,000 to spend on them. There was, Mr. Thomas Freeman.
I'm Thomas Fryman, Unit 2. I think you're getting a cart before the horse. I don't think it's an issue that we need to be addressing at this time. And from my understanding, this issue was never brought up to the president prior to being put on the agenda. And it should be tabled to allow us to even put in the trash.
I turned this in about 2.5 weeks ago to the office. I turned in, I got the paperwork out there.
Okay, all right. Thank you for your comment, Mr. Freeman. You'll have to come up, I'll allow it, because there's nobody else who is commenting. We gotta keep each one on our toes.
Short comment as to.
Just, we have to have your name and your unit number. For the record.
Barbara Beltran, I think it's Unit 2.
Okay.
The discussion on the electric cars, I know several people here that do have electric cars.
Barbara?
And, okay.
There you go.
I do know a couple people that do have electric cars here, and I just think it's something that the board should consider at some time, maybe not this exact meeting, but should be open to, we are a retirement community, but we should be open to people that maybe are just coming in at 55. And I think those people would have, you know, the opportunity to have the electric cars. I really think, especially if you have a grant or if you have someone who, I mean, why not take advantage of it now and not later? So it doesn't seem like, well, after you get your financials together, but anyway, I really think it is, I think most of you are not open-minded on it, and maybe should be a little bit open-minded as to, we are a retirement community, but we need younger people coming in too. So, anyway, thank you.
Thank you. And, you know, you you made a statement about the finances. We really want to get our finances straightened out before we even go any further. Did I see another comment? No. I believe this motion is for an ad hoc committee to even look at, it's just to look at them.
To see what's out there, what the costs are, and to ask with the Lakuchi rep, is there some kind of funding that, a grant or whatever that they would do?
There is a thing, you know, and that is something that Rich actually could, without having an ad hoc committee yet, that he could just check with them to see what there is and then bring it back, because I know that Jerry wants more information before he feels comfortable with this.
I can do that, it's not a problem.
Okay.
The concept is, I mean, you know what's going on in the future as we get a 2010, 15, and 20, we just established it,
Right.
okay? That's what we're doing,
Right.
that's all.
And I understand that, but I think if you come back with a little bit more information, Rich, if you would like to table this, or if you would like us to vote on it.
I'm gonna go out there and get the information. I'm gonna talk to Richie Gucci,
Okay.
all the people involved, what the cost is gonna be, what they charge the villages. They may come up for free in the villages, I don't know that yet. Let's find out.
Okay, and that's what we're asking.
Okay,
If you could,
get to a committee, I'll do it myself.
okay, would you like to table this, or would you like us to vote on it?
Hold on.
Vote on it, okay. Okay. All those in favor of the motion to form an ad hoc committee to research? It's, the vote is for this, okay? I motion, all those in favor of forming an ad hoc committee to research electric vehicles, at electric vehicle charging stations at the BCPO? Say aye and raise your hand.
Because I think that we need the information.
And I,
We have to do it all by himself.
all those opposed, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. And now? No, it's not dead. I asked, many of us, when we do this, it's just as simple as you go into it with Fuji, and you're gonna give us some more information that is directly connected with us. Next. The next is past due suspensions. Larry?
The topic is account suspensions. Analysis is, Florida State 720.305, paragraph 3.
Go to the mic, please.
Put my
We can't hear you.
Hello.
Hello.
The topic is account suspensions. The analysis is, Florida statute 720.305, paragraph 3. If a member is more than 90 days delinquent in paying a monetary obligation to the association may suspend the rights of the member or the member's tenant, guest, or invitee to common areas and facilities until the monetary obligation is paid in full. Florida statute 720.305, paragraph 5, all suspensions imposed pursuant to subsection 3 or subsection 4 must be approved by a properly noticed board meeting. Upon approval, the association must notify the parcel owner, if applicable, and parcel's occupant, licensee, or invitee by mail or in delivery. My recommendation is to approve the suspension for the past due accounts. So my motion would be to approve the listed account numbers that are past due more than 90 days. Suspension of privileges will be imposed 7 days after the board's decision and will continue until the accounts are made current in accordance with the Florida statute 720.305. There are a total of 3. The account numbers are 232-008, 465-006 and 640019.
We have a motion on the floor in accordance with Florida Statute 720.305 that these account numbers are past due within 90 days. Suspension of privileges will be imposed on until the accounts are made current. Do I have a second? Okay, hold on. We have a second by Val Stratton. We have a question, when will they be imposed?
It will be, once the board approves it, it will be 7 days from today, so April 28th.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? It's a unanimous vote. Next, we have report of directors. Do we have any committee reports or projects? No? Yes.
I want to thank the fellows from the men's club. Well, Ken was out there. Ken Duncan. Ken was out there. We had a great time at the garage sale. I was asked yesterday, are we having one again this Saturday? The people out there enjoyed it so much. The food was great. They did some great sales. I had wheelchairs out there, walkers, no problem. They had playroom to move around, and the people enjoyed it. I thought the men's club, they were going to do it again. A lot of people can stop by my house, they gave us items to use on the men's table. And the men's table, you could buy something for $25, it was $1. $1. And sometimes we give it away $5 for $1. Because it's all a contribution, and we want to get everybody taken care of. So I want to thank everybody. You didn't make it this time, you make it next time. Also, I'd like to mention that we remember the food boxes. One is here in the corner in the back, and one at the clubhouse in the corner, and the one up in the office. I noticed that boxes are getting full every time I go up there. I appreciate it very much, and thank you.
Rosemary? Nothing? All right.
Yes, I do. Is Jim Westbrook here tonight? Hi, Jim. Jim spoke at the workshop that he wanted to be a member of our finance committee. He had also asked about the total expenses that we show on our financial report, and the expenses vary from one. What Jim had asked me was, by looking at like 2 months, I think it was January and February, and then looking at the end of the year, what our budget was, we were going to be well under our budget. But our expenses vary from month to month. So I think when we get done with a year, it'll be very close. I don't think that it's going to be way under. I just don't believe that'll happen. But he also asked me if he could be on the financial committee, and I told him I thought that would be great. He went down to the office, he filled out his resume like he's supposed to. And then, being new, I decided I'd look into something, and I found something in our SOPs, on SOP 8.2, paragraph 3.2, that states all committee members for the financial budget must be full-time residents. And Jim is not. I called and told him that, and we're wondering if it's possible to change SOPs, and if it is, how far down the road are we looking? And I don't have those answers.
Okay. I believe that the reason why the finance committee specifically is for people that are here full-time. If you were here full-time all summer, because the summer is when we do the budget, and there is a lot of paperwork. Even having a Zoom meeting would not help us, because they're so often that you wouldn't be able to have the information. So I believe that that's why. And as far as changing SOPs, if there is an issue with the SOP that we need to update, the board does that.
Okay.
Okay, Val?
I'm the liaison for bingo. So Carol, we still have no word when Friday night bingo can take place, or yes,
October.
You guys,
October.
who told you that?
October first, we had a meeting 2 weeks ago, and we decided that we would wait and hold it off till October first, because a lot of people are still not
so October 1st, we're gonna have Friday night bingo again.
tentatively.
Tentatively, if
If
everything
everything
goes
opens up.
great.
Awesome.
Need volunteers,
We need volunteers,
lots of them.
lots of them. What would volunteers do so they don't get intimidated by going to Friday night bingo, like some of us? Yeah, if you could do that, please. Oh,
Leave it up,
Kathy?
Grown up or okay?
Hello?
just leave it up. That's okay. It'll
And
blink.
Kathy? Hello? Okay. Okay, volunteers for Friday night bingo. It's not as hard as everybody thinks it is. We need callers to call the numbers for the people. That, according to Ellie, isn't really hard to learn how to do. Then we need people to work the tables, handing out the packets for the night. We need a cashier. We need a banker. We need people to work the floor so when somebody yells bingo, they're able to call the numbers back. And we need people in the kitchen when and if we decide to start selling food again, to help the girls there. And just overall, giving your help where it's needed.
One Friday a month. One Friday a month.
One Friday a month, unless you want to work more. I know myself, I usually am there every Friday, and pretty much every Friday I do something for, whether it's walking the floor, playing bingo for somebody that has to get up and go to the bathroom, or whatever. But it is a community-run bingo. And the more people we have, the better it will be, I think. So what time? Friday night bingo starts at,
5:30?
yes, the new time I believe is 5:30. They start selling cards at 3:30. Okay, so it started at 3:30, yes. Okay, that's for selling, and how about the floor people? The floor people usually get there about a half hour before bingo starts, so it would be 5 o'clock, right. How about the people that are working the tables need to be there, I would say by 3 o'clock, quarter after at the latest. Okay, all right, thank you. And usually Friday night bingo gets over somewhere around 9:30, 10 o'clock. And that's once a month. And if we can remind, the Brookridge residents that Friday night bingo pays a fee. They were paying 22 something, but I think it's up to 2,400 maybe?
We haven't decided that.
I haven't decided yet, okay. So that is an income that comes in, that goes into our budget. So Friday night bingo is kind of important. It's not a social club, it's run by Brookridge people, but it's a state law. They go through is that correct? The state and county laws. We don't have anything to do with the running of it, but we rent the hall, and that brings in, if we have a full year, it's about $1 of our assessments. So it keeps the assessments at, that's one way that we keep the assessments down. So that's why it's really important.
Yes, and 3/4 of the people right now come in from the outside.
Yeah.
So we need a lot more people that are in here to come Friday night and support our bingo.
Mhm.
And most of the money that we make, we give away. We're nonprofit,
And we give it to food banks, churches, SPCA, a whole bunch of different, and it's usually posted on a bulletin board who we've given what to. So I thank you. Thank you.
Anna has a question.
Okay, hold on, just one more. Yeah, you can come up right after, okay? I just wanna have one comment, okay? Fish, as most of you know, Ron Ross has the FISH, the FISH club. And they have started a food bank for people in Brookridge. It's very specific, the types of foods that they want. I know it's posted everywhere. And we have 8 collection boxes around Brookridge, at residents' home. We right now have filled 27 boxes with a lot of items for people in Brookridge. We've given out, I think they said they gave out 5 last week, at 5, okay, and they are looking for everyone's help for people that, if you have a neighbor that never goes out, you know, that needs the food, we have enough for many people, and it's getting very successful because the boxes are filling up even more. Is that correct? Yeah, the boxes are filling up even more. So if anybody knows, we're looking for names of people that need it also. So if you can turn that information into the office, that would be very helpful for Ron. That's Ron. Okay. Member comments. Anna, do you want to start? No? Yes. You're gonna get up. There you go. Good exercise.
Anna Webster, Unit 4. Not to be outdone by the Friday night bingo. I'm sorry, I have to say something. All right. We are having Tuesday night bingo for the summer. Our Tuesday night bingo is put on by the ladies of Brookridge, our women's organization. It's for residents and their guests only. We would like to have all of you come support it. Our money goes to scholarships for Hernandez County seniors, and also the bingo money goes to that. Also, our women's club, when we can get back into doing things, we also do a lot of contributions to Brookridge and to some of the other organizations. I like Friday night bingo. I think they do a great job, but we do a great job. Trona works with me. We have good volunteers, and thank you for letting me talk.
By the way, it is not the women's club, it is the ladies of Brookridge. Oh, that's what you meant to say. Okay, she really said, okay. Okay, do we have any other comments? Sir, if you could come up. Yeah. I interpreted it as scholarships, but I'm part of it. I thought it said scholarships. Okay, name, unit number.
Jim Westbrook, 6. Actually, I didn't really get the questions answered that I asked last week. Let me ask them again, just so that there's no misunderstanding. There's about $282,000 between the revenue that comes in for the assessments. 2,950 people times 45 is 132,750, or $1,593,000. The budget is $1,300,000. So the question was, and it still is, where's the other 282? That's question 1. Question 2 is, at the rate we're going, we're a quarter of the year through, so 3 months, there's 9 to go. We're going to be at 74%, assuming that the rate stays the same. Even if it goes up, as you suggested, that leaves a surplus of $338,000. What are we going to do with that money? That's the next question. The third question is, the young lady mentioned that there was extra money for the roof. How much was budgeted, and we're gonna spend 190, what was initially budgeted? And what's that difference?
Okay, if you can address this, they are taking that.
Those are all my
consideration.
questions. And then just a comment, I find it astonishing, I can't think of any other words, that you wouldn't put me or allow me to be part of the finance committee with the ability to send an electronic spreadsheet, to do a Zoom meeting, to do a phone call, whether I'm sitting 6 feet in front of you or 6 million feet in front of you. It shouldn't matter. I was trying to help the committee, the community, and it's basically, no thanks, have a nice day.
Well, Mr. Westbrook, in a comment to the last one, our standard operating procedures don't allow us to do that right now, but we are looking into that.
It takes 30 seconds to change
It- Larry will be in touch with you. How long are you here till, sir?
Couple more days.
A couple more days, okay. Carol, do you have something I thought you were going to address something. No?
The difference?
Oh,
on the roof?
okay.
Well, I was gonna help Ann out, but she figured it out.
Oh, okay. Now, as Larry did say, I'm sorry. It's late, people, we're old. One thing that Larry did say, it appears that we would have an excess of $282,000. But we have, like all of us, we have bills that come in quarterly and every 6 months, insurance bills and things like that. There are things that we do during the year that aren't monthly. So that amount can be deceiving. So it's as you see month by month, and I think as you go on, you will see a difference. So, Laura, do you have anything else to add at this time, except we can get back to him?
The only other thing was, I think, Carol, the total price of the roof was going to be 170,000.
80.
100.
Yeah.
$170,888.
And we're gonna allocate 190,000 to it because we don't know what else they may run into when they go working on this roof.
And
Now,
that way
if
we
they
don't
don't
have
use
to go
that-
back to the board.
You're right, if we don't have it, then they have to come back to the board and ask for more money. We allocated 190,000 for it, which is 20, correct?
Almost 19,000 more.
So it's about $20,000 more, and that is just to cover if there's something else wrong with this roof that we don't know about. If we don't spend that money, of course, it goes back into the reserve, it does not sit out somewhere else.
Correct, stays in the clubhouse reserves.
Right.
Thank you, I see it.
Marty Roloff, Unit 4. I guess this question is for Carol. Could you tell me who sends out the emails in reference to the COVID notifications? Was that you?
That would be Arlene.
Arlene, okay. Who sends out the agenda? I would like to know why I get emails about the COVID notification, but I can't get emails on the agenda, and it's the same email address.
Unfortunately, I don't know.
Well, it's been going on for a long, long time, and, I get COVID emails, but I can't get the agenda emails.
The agenda is also available on the website.
I shouldn't have to go to the website. I signed up for email.
Well, I'm just saying, if you can't get it, it is another option for you.
I'd like to know when I can get the emails like everyone else does.
Okay. If I could, and I understand your frustration, there's a lot of people that have had this problem. That is part of the reason why we're looking at another consultant to see, because the emails were one of the biggest issues. And next week, we're gonna be meeting with the resident, and we're hoping that we can figure out what has gone wrong with them. Did you get them before July 1st of last year?
Yes, you never had a comment before.
Okay. And
And
was
my
it-
question is, I guess I don't understand, and I'm not real computer savvy for an expert. But I use the same email and I get one and not the other.
Marge, how long are you here for? Okay, if we can talk at the end of the week? Okay.
Is it on? I think.
It's on.
Okay, thank you. I'm Chris Luca from Unit 6. I'm a member of the tennis club. I just want to thank Gail for noting our letter to the board. Although I do want to note that it was March 16th, and we hope to be part of any and all discussions on any kind of renovation or upgrading to the tennis courts. Thank you.
Thank you. One thing being up this high, I can see hands now.
Jack Rahal, Unit 4. This is in defense of Mr. Westbrook and with Larry. Having worked at Xerox for 17 years, we, as part of Xerox was Fuji Xerox. We worked with Japan. We worked with Xerox Park in California. We had spreadsheets live and were able to edit live online, make changes. So in this day and age, especially with somebody with 20, 25 years experience, I think it would behoove us to try and use his knowledge as possible.
Well, until he told them that he was, and you know, what you're talking about, if we got $100,000 donation, we could get our,
Well, we
could
can
get-
talk with Mr. Green too to say what's
Absolutely.
possible.
Absolutely,
And just find out what's possible and then use
absolutely.
people here.
Thank you. Well noted. Anyone else? Okay, going once, going twice. Could I entertain the motion to? Oh, I'm sorry, I have one more thing. I'm sorry, I have one more thing, I forgot. The AVRC meeting, the committee meets tomorrow at 9 o'clock, so I'm not sure who's on the AVRC committee. It meets 9 o'clock tomorrow here at the clubhouse. Jerry is the liaison to that, so I will be Jerry tomorrow. I just wanted to get that in there. Could we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second? No second? I know, I was saying, we're gonna be here all night. Okay, second by Rosemary. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Good night, everyone. Thank you.